Good evening. This is episode 182 of Live Drawing. Tonight we're going to keep working on box doodles, which are the drawings that you see on the outside of boxes that I've been sending to backers for the Kickstarter so far. Here's some of the ones we've finished recently. Here's a tick one. Here's a Ninja Turtles. There's a Leo. Here's another tick. Spoon. And here's a Spider-Man I did. Just reaching towards the viewer. Just playing with some foreshortening. And here's Undersea Hero. So we're going to keep working on these. I just kind of do whatever characters I feel like working on and keep working on them. I did mention in the comments that Rubber Chicken Comics, the first retailer that backed Undersea Hero, has their books. They're on the shelf today for New Comic Book Day. For cover price, they're just sitting there. So they're a great store. There's a link to their store in the description of the video. And I picked up a lot of great stuff. I picked up some great sketch covers. They always have the best ones. Like they have stuff I've not seen at other stores. Like this Batman the Killing Joke. That'll be fun. House of Secrets to do a Swamp Thing. We got some TMNT covers. Red Sonja, Mars Attacks Mars. I thought this would be fun to do like a Burroughs character on there with it. So there's John Carter or Tars Tarkas. Got the Casey Jones. I'd never seen a Phantom sketch cover before. I know he's not the most popular character, but I just that would be for me to draw because it'd be fun. And I got this Batman Harley Quinn, which was drawn by Yvel Guichet, who I think is just a extraordinary artist, written by Paul Dini. So there's some of the sketch covers I picked up. Hey, Martha's, I'm doing all right. I just picked up some random comics. I'm not an X-Force guy, but this is one of those like nostalgia ones where Cannonball left to join the X-Men. Got some Doctor Strange. These were all for the most part 50 cents or $1. Got some nice Simonson Thor issues. For 50 cents, it was Beat to Heck. The cover's detached, but it's the first appearance of Son of Satan. That was in the 50-cent bin. I got some signed issues of Bedlam by Steve Bissette, signed by Steve Bissette back in '85. I got this Question miniseries that I've always wanted to read. I've never read it, and they had the whole series, I think, for $10. Another 50-cent Doctor Strange, and then I grabbed this Brett Blevins, Al Williamson, and Nascenti Inhumans graphic novel, and I've been reading that. So. Putting on weight, is that a bad thing? It's the winter time, it's cold out there. What character should we do first? Should we do maybe somebody from one of the books we got? Maybe Thor. I don't draw Thor very often. That could be fun. Yeah, that was cool. The Inhumans logo. They used this logo for a brief period in the 80s and 90s, and they did a couple of like one-shot issues that they put that logo on. If you've never read any Walt Simonson Thor, that's one of the, if you like superhero comics, I would highly recommend going and finding some. These were only 50 cents in the 50-cent bin, and they're just the masterclass in storytelling and dynamic artwork. And Walt Simonson did the writing and the art, and then John Workman, who was his letterer from I think the whole run, just did a wonderful job. So. I don't draw Thor very often. It's not a character that I read a ton. I read the Kirby stuff, and I read a good chunk of the Simonson stuff. Wow, good for you. That's a lot of gestures. Medieval theme, unless you prefer monsters or anime. Whatever you feel like doing, that's a lot of work. Maybe you'd want to mix it up. I don't know. I've you know me, I'm a fantasy fan, but I like also I like just gestures of just regular people too. That helps me a lot with creating sort of a natural, believable body language to people. Because when I exaggerate, I want to be able to uh, ground it when I'm doing that. That's a good idea. Pausing old movies. I was actually watching an old Italian sci-fi movie that is among my favorite of the B movies. It's called Star Crash. It's got David Hasselhoff and Caroline Munro in it. Christopher Plummer plays like the Emperor of the Galaxy. I also read, as far as Thor comics go, I read Thunderstrike, which I liked quite a bit. That was a series by Ron Frenz, Tom DeFalco. It's a fun movie. Yeah, the Sinbad movies. I actually really liked those when I was a kid. That was one of those where my parents were like, they were. My parents were very good about letting us watch a lot of like basically if it was an old movie, they felt that we would know that it's just a movie and it's not real life. And yeah, the way I always describe Thunderstrike, and people tend to be hypercritical of it because of the era in which it came out. I always thought as Thor was the god's view of man, and Thunderstrike was the man's view of God. You know, I don't find necessarily a god walking around with us as interesting as mankind trying to explore all those existential questions. Forgive me if the circles are not perfect. I'm just kind of eyeballing stuff because it's on a box doodle. If it were for a panel page or something, I'd get out the all the circle templates and try to get it right. So, these are just sketches, so it's not. Yeah, you can move quick. It's also just a skill. I was talking about this the other day that these box doodles are helping me out with is that I'll be doing more conventions again this year. And drawing at a convention is a very different skill than drawing comic books. You got to be fast. You've got to be able to come up with stuff on the fly. It's an entirely different muscle, um, as I describe it to people. One thing that also helps me be quick is this type of tool. This type of pen is just, you can scoot around real quick with it, and it does dynamic lines. Like you can get different line weights without having to really lean on the thing too badly. And this is actually the soft tip. Yeah, getting back to conventions, I actually know artists that really don't like to draw at conventions in general, and have stopped doing sketches at shows, except for like little remarks. It's because of the environment, like between the lights and the noise and everything else going on. It's just something I've just kind of accepted as like a nature of it. This is just a kneaded eraser. It's nothing fancy at all. You can get them super cheap. This is a Kuretake brush pen, which I don't even think they make anymore. So that's one where I don't know if it's a tool that people will be able to find if they're interested in it. They do a disposable version, but this is a refillable version, and it's one of my favorite tools of all time. From what I remember, I'm sorry, I don't have it. I haven't fully familiarized myself with everything. I've been very behind on stuff. But I remember seeing more than a couple. Just because we're doing shorts was my only thing. It's either public domain or you can create your own characters, and like I said, part of the agreement going into the anthology, if anybody else other than the two of us want to do it, is that everybody owns their own stuff. We might have used up the yellow, so we might have to open up a new one. Well, I wasn't going to spend a ton of money on yeah, I mean, work on it how you want. As far as putting together a supporting cast goes, it's just a short story, so I don't know how far you want to get down that rabbit hole. But work on it as you see fit. I'm not serving as an editor. I'm just, if you want to bounce ideas off of me, that's cool. If you want me to critique stuff, if you want help with layouts, anything, I'm here as a resource. Yep, I think the other one is out of juice. These are like the cheapest paint pens you can buy at Michael's. That's there we go. I will look at it again, I promise. But nothing came to mind currently. But I will look at it. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm behind on lots of stuff. There we go. Squeeze out a little bit of blue out of this one. No, I totally understand that. You know. No, you're not rushing me. I'm just behind. That's all. A lot of last week was dedicated to getting stuff ready for Rubber Chicken because I made a trip up there, and I just really wanted. I actually I finished that drawing. I haven't posted it yet, but we started that one of the Crackus and Undersea Hero, and we changed the name from Undersea Chicken to just the Chicken of the Sea. So the gag got tweaked a little bit, but still basically the same gag. My highlight choices will make more sense once I finish the background. Hey Dennis, good to see you, man. Yeah, just having fun with a character I never draw, so I figured why not. Thank you, sir. How are things with you in the voice actor world that you find yourself bringing characters to existence with your vocal acuity? I think that's good enough for a box doodle. Hey Marvin, good to see you, man. Thank you. On camera demo. So you're trying to get from behind the mic. You're trying to be the man in front of the camera now. Or was that the original intent? Were you going for that, or did you just find that you wanted to go in that direction? Not to really on, your. There we go. We did Thor. Got that one done. Who do we do next? What should the next one be? I've been drawing all kinds of characters lately. Okay, you always wanted to do. That's cool. Next. We did a Spider-Man. We've done Batman a couple times. What character should we do next? Just did Thor. Let's do the Thing, maybe, from Fantastic Four. Be a good one. I like the Inhumans, but I think because that TV show didn't get super popular, that people don't really like the Inhumans very much. They're super cool characters, though. We'll do the Thing first. Daredevil's a good one to do next, Jonathan. I don't know if you saw, Jonathan, the sketch covers I got. I showed those off earlier. One of them is definitely for you, so I will. Is it okay if I give the Thing his stogie? My dad smokes cigars still, and he's, I know Marvel put a moratorium on it when during the Quesada administration. I guess that's how you'll know it's a Bronze Age thing, because it's a vintage thing. It's not a current thing. He's got the stogie. Those are my vanishing point lines. I'm just kind of roughing them in so that I keep everything in line. I still haven't seen the new Fantastic Four movie, and I don't have Disney Plus, so I'll have to wait till it's on Xfinity streaming. So whenever they show it on television, it'll become available for me to watch on there. So if they show it on TBS or something, I can stream it, or one of the other networks. Trying to remember the networks that sometimes show like the Avengers movies and stuff. Did you see it? Did you like the new movie? The special effects look great. You know, it looked like a slick new film. Do kind of the Perez brow on this one. Hey, thanks, Dennis. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you too. Good luck with the auditions, man. Hey, the Inhumans are cool. I liked. I loved the Jay Lee series with Paul Jenkins writing. Back in the '70s, they did a series that went for about 12 or 14 issues, and some of them were really good. George Perez did the beginning of it. Keith Pollard did a couple issues. I try to remember who did the rest of the series, but I don't. I always thought Keith Pollard was like super underrated. I love his stuff for superhero fiction. He gets the big action and movement really, really well and concisely. I've noticed the prices on his artwork has started to go up, so this looks almost like giving me kind of Alan Davis vibes. If anybody ever read his Fantastic Four. I love Alan Davis's work, but I would never say that anything I've ever drawn has been Alan Davis-like. always fun drawing the big, exaggerated, monstrous type creatures. And Benji Grimm is I love Marvel 2-in-1. If anybody's not read the annual where he fights the champion and the subsequent issues in the series where Sandman visits him, that whole arc. I think I'm going to bring some of those issues to Little Giant to get Tom DeFalco to sign. Aunt Petunia. And I'm going to say something that, as an old comic fan, I still appreciate the Roger Corman Fantastic Four. When you see the documentary Doomed that talks about what it took to get that movie made and how many people did it on their own time and their own dime just to get it, the one that you see bootlegged finished, I have a lot of appreciation for that. My collaborator on The Tick, Jeff McClellan, is a massive collector of The Thing. And he has, I think, every appearance except for the first appearance. And he collects sketches by all sorts of artists in multiple volumes of sketchbooks that he's carried for years. I've done a couple for him. I've never really been super thrilled with the results of my trying to draw The Thing. And I think it's because he's definitely one of those characters where it's tough to shake the versions that are in my head by artists that are much better than I am. Hey, Daniel, good to see you, man. I love that part. I also like just the whole vibe of the way Doom was played in that movie. I liked the Mole Man / Tinkerer character that they created. I don't know, it just had a lot of heart. And I've watched a ton of Roger Corman movies over the years. Thanks. I've still got time to overdo it because we got to add some color. Oh, nice. Thank you. I actually found some toned paper, so like I'm thinking about doing some like not box doodles, but nicer ones that are in color on like a brown paper or on a brown board. I don't know. I'd be interested to see, since people like the box doodles so well, if I did like a nicer version, if they would sell at a convention or off of my website when I open that up. Because I'm going to continue to do the box doodles for orders off of my website, just like I always used to when I open that back up. So the only thing is, it's like nobody gets to pick which character it is. I just get to draw whatever I feel like drawing. That's the only rule. Let me find my orange marker. Yeah, it was. I thought it was fun. If you think of it in the context of like the Incredible Hulk TV show, yeah, I think that's the right way to think about it. Yeah, these are those oil-based paint markers. That's why the color pops a little bit better than just the Sharpie. Yeah, paint pens. They make several different brands. These are the cheapest ones you can buy. These are Craft Smart, but I also have a few of the expensive ones called Posca pens. These are put out by Uni, and these are better than these. But like because I'm doing like 100 boxes, I couldn't afford to do all of the expensive markers to buy several sets of those. So I bought a few sets of the less expensive ones, and people have still liked them. So, but I guess it's a free drawing, so they're just happy. And I don't work in color all that often for the you know for people to purchase. And you can find these at any Michaels, even the nicer ones, the Pasco ones. They've gotten popular to the point where like the big box stores now carry them. Yeah, Martha's does draw. They draw very well. They've got some. They've got a. They're going to contribute to Dime Box. They've got a big figure gesture project they're working on now. Very exciting. I think most of the pieces I've seen of Martha's have been sketches. I've seen a few finished pieces, so I look forward to seeing those finished pages. That's right. You do the art fight groups. Yeah, that's it. 61-minute gesture drawings for 60 days. That's tough. It takes a lot of discipline. Gotta get the blue eyes for the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. Just a little touch of white. Oh, that's interesting. A continuous motion. We need just a little bit of, I think I've got the right marker over here. A little bit of red. Do we need to give them an outline, you think? What would go well with the orange? Blue goes best with the orange, so I mean, I guess we could do that. But we already have blue and orange. Do we want to introduce a third color? I mean, I do like the pink, but maybe we'll just add it to the frame. That would be a good way to do it. There we go. That looks good. Oh, there's the thing. I think we had Daredevil next. Character that I like different creators on it. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Jonathan, if you're still there, do you have a favorite Daredevil artist? I always liked, I liked Rick Leonardi on it a lot. Lee Weeks. Everybody says Frank Miller. I think Mazzucchelli did a wonderful job on it. Same with Gene Colan. And I haven't seen the new Daredevil show since it came back. I watched the original ones that were on Netflix because I had Netflix, but like I said, I've never gotten Disney Plus, so I've never seen the new one. Am I a fan of the artwork in Earthworm Jim? I don't know. Mazzucchelli would be your number one. It's definitely not the wrong answer. Mark out where the horns go. I really liked, for a more modern artist, like Paulo Rivera did a wonderful job on it, and Chris Samney. And then I like Ed Brubaker's writing, and I liked his run on Daredevil where he was chasing Tombstone around in Paris, and Michael Lark was the artist. I thought those were very gritty, interesting pages. Have I done window pieces for people, like the paint markers on the windows? No, I have not. I've done murals. I've done those on like a wall before, but I've never done it on windows. No. I've done stuff that was printed and adhered to windows, but not physically drawing on windows. At least I don't think I have. I don't recall doing that. I've definitely designed window installations, like we would draw it, print it on an adhesive material, and then they would put it on. I don't know if I want the curved or just the little points. See how it looks. Is that something you've done? Have you done windows before? Yeah, less exaggerated. There is a person in the area that does there's somebody downtown that does a bunch of where I live, a bunch of windows for different storefronts and stuff. Murals can be awesome. They're really hard. Drawing at scale can be difficult because just like keeping proportions steady on a small drawing, it's hard to keep them steady on a large drawing just because you got to continuously like walk backwards and take a look at it. If I was doing murals for a living, if that was even possible, I would definitely do like a camera setup so that I could look at it while I'm working on it on my phone, so that I could not have to keep getting up and going backwards. The only gigs I see for like hand done stuff like that anymore is actually for like those sandwich boards. Like I actually do see stores actively looking for people to do their weekly special boards. When I did a mural, it didn't pay didn't pay for beans is the nicest way I could put it. In some places, like there was a mural call for murals in the town where I used to live, and I was intrigued, but then when I inquired, you had to supply all your own materials. And if you've ever done a mural, generally you buy paint that is meant to last outdoors, whether it's boat paint or you get a special spray paint like that's gonna stick. It's expensive. And this one wasn't even gonna cover the materials. And I was like, no thanks. I'd be happy to do a mural someplace locally if they would just cover the materials. I'll put in the time, I'll do the artwork, but I'm not paying for the cost to do it do your mural for you. Let's have our light source over. Oh, we lost our chat. I don't know why we lost our chat. Yeah, that's probably a good point, Daniel. That's probably a good point. Depends where you live. I was just testing the chat because for some reason the chat history disappeared. I don't know why, and it looks different this time than it usually does. But the thing about those great Mazzucchelli pages to me was just how concise they were, the sparseness, and it was just like the perfectly allotted visuals to convey the action or the mood of the scene. Not necessarily something I'm very good at. I tend to cook stuff and put too much garbage in it that it doesn't really need, but I'm just like trying to give it more context than it needs. I'll try to back down on this one and try to be very concise, not do too many lines. I would agree, Jonathan. That era of John Romita Jr. is interesting because he started to add some of that exaggeration, but not too much of it. And he had broken away from like the kind of um, pulled back version that he was doing in X-Men. And then he did Punisher, and then that was like where the exaggerations just took off and went in all sorts of different directions. And he did that Cable miniseries. I like JR. I do. But yeah, you're right. There are definitely different eras of his work, and I can see why there's some fans of some of his stuff and not everything. And then like when he came back and did Spectacular Spider-Man, looked different than when he did Amazing Spider-Man. I really liked the Spectacular Spider-Man because it was like this big blocky character. Probably be a lot of red on this picture. I'm noodling. That's why I'm not David Mazzucchelli. Hmm. Yeah, I would agree. It was definitely more like house style for sure. Yeah. And some of his X-Men, I just have a great nostalgia for because when even though like maybe technically it's not as proficient as like his later work or even other artists like Paul Smith on the book. But like, when it's the first 100 comics you read, and for me, some of those were called X-Men Classic. It was originally Classic X-Men, and then in the '90s, at some point, it changed titles to Classic X-Men Classic. And I used to pick them up at the mall, at the Walden bookstore, which was like a smaller version of like a Barnes and Noble kind of thing. Had to get our. Yeah, Daniel, man, good luck. Hope the interview goes well. As long as it's a gig that you want. Absolutely. Good luck. It's a stressful thing to do. Messed up the logo. Oh well. Daredevil will probably be our last one of the night. So we want to do the swirly lines for his radar sense. We want to add those to this, or is that too much noise? Squeaky noises, scratchy noises, all the noises from drawing on boxes. I think Daredevil's stick was it white or was it metallic? I've got a silver Sharpie, like a paint pen that looks nice on the boxes. Should it be Losing my voice a little bit, so. Hey, Dr. Mask. Yep, we've got a stack of 15 now, so that'll be a good chunk of more I can pack and mail. Probably get them packed up this weekend and get them in the mail next week is the hope. Chopping through those rewards. It's tough. The level of labor that, after you've done the book and everything and gotten so far, there's still more hurdles to go through. So we're doing our best. What do you think? Should I offer sketches that are on like toned paper with color like this at shows? Nicer ones, finished ones. Yeah, and once I open up like I said, once I open up my store, hopefully in a month or so, I'll continue doing the box doodles on every order just like I used to. I don't know if people remember back when that was open last. It's been over a year. All right, yeah, I'll add it to the repertoire. We'll test it out. Let's use some businessy talk. We'll beta test it at shows and see how it goes. All right, where's our white? There's our white. Oh, I love Craig's Canson drawings. I could never keep up with Craig's drawings. That's for sure. It would be a way for me to offer color at conventions. Like I just don't have time to do watercolor at a show, and I'm really not very good with markers, like regular the Copic markers. If people have seen those, I tried those years ago, and I just wasn't any good at them. I tried, believe me, I tried. I don't really have the dexterity to do the circles clean. So do we want to do the radar sense somehow or don't we? I think if we do, we want to add some just regular. Yeah, I don't think we need the radar sense. I think if we just have this little bit of a background like that, I think we'll be good. There we go. All right. So tonight we did Daredevil, we did The Thing, and we did Thor. So a big Marvel box doodle night on the stream. So thanks everybody for coming out. I hope good luck at the job interview. Good luck with the auditions and whatever everybody's dealing with, and the rest of the week. I hope that everybody has a good weekend, and yeah, stay warm, stay safe, and I hope to see you next week. So good night, everybody. Thank you.